Hi, everybody. Welcome back to part 3 of our little 2-week, 10-day series on the distinctive difference. Today is part 3. We're talking about the difference between what I call transactional religion and its made-up, fictitious God who is distant, angry, punitive, conditional, list-keeping, and who punishes for all eternity those who don't get things just right, according to one of the 40,000 worldwide denominations who tells you their way is just right. We're talking about the difference between that idea of a God who does not exist and the pure grace belief in what Jesus calls, who Jesus calls the only true God, his Father, that God who is unconditional love, who has forgiven and included everyone, who is for everyone, and whom has set it up so that no one can ever be separated from his love. Two very different concepts of God. The pure grace group believes that Jesus lives in everyone and is just waiting to speak to each of us and to live his life in us, as us, and through us. He's done all the work on his part. One of these two groups, is able to hear Jesus' voice. The other doesn't appear to. Jesus talked about this one time in Matthew 13. The heading in one of the Bibles, the version I'm going to use today, the heading says, "The purpose of the parables." So the disciples asked Jesus why he spoke in parables. Now, parables are natural stories with spiritual implications. So Jesus answered them, and he said, well, because it has been given to you to know the mysteries. Now, mysteries aren't known or understood in your mind, in your thinker. They are perceived in your spirit, in your heart, in your knower. That's where the kingdom of God resides, God in us. Jesus says, it's been given to you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of God, but to them, to others, it has not been given. And my understanding is, not yet, but in God's timing it will be. Jesus says, for whoever has, to him more will be given, and he will have abundance. But whoever does not have, even what he has will be taken away from him. Now here's my understanding of what that means is, people who have an incorrect belief in God, like the Pharisees did when Jesus was on earth, and as most religious people do today, people who have built their religion on rules and regulations and an angry, distant God who has to be appeased and all of that stuff, even what they have that they built their life on, and they're good people, they're just misinformed, even what they have will be taken away from them, and they will ultimately be shown the truth. Those who have an understanding of the only true God, God is going to reveal more and more and more and more things to them all the time, and they will have abundance. And I've certainly found that to be true. Those who believe lies about God and how he relates to us have built their knowledge around a house of cards that's not working for them, and it will eventually be taken away from them when they come to see the truth. Therefore, Jesus said, I speak to them in parables, because seeing they do not see, and hearing they do not hear. They do not understand. They don't know. They've got a wrong idea of what God is like, so Jesus says it doesn't do any good to tell them what he's really like. Jesus says there's another dimension that we come into, and it comes with the mysteries of the kingdom, which are perceived in our heart, in our spirit. Jesus says, I've given you the mysteries because I'm taking you to a higher level of understanding. Now, I'm not saying that people who understand this are any better or further along or have achieved anything or whatever. It's just for some reason, at some point in time, God's timing, God chooses to reveal things to those who are ready to hear. And that's a level of understanding that in our mind, in our regular worldly understanding, we can't even comprehend. Jesus says, in these people, the prophet of Isaiah is fulfilled, which says, hearing you will hear and shall not understand, seeing you will see and not perceive. For the hearts of this people have grown dull. Their ears are hard of hearing and their eyes they've closed, lest they should see with their eyes and hear with their ears, lest they should understand with their hearts and turn, so that I should heal them. But blessed are your eyes, for they see. Another dimension, another place. And your ears, for they hear what is really true. For assuredly, Jesus said, I say to you that many prophets and righteous men desired to see what you see and didn't see it, and hear what you hear and didn't hear it. Now, Jesus is talking about two different levels of understanding here. One on the natural level, in our mind, which we perceive through our five senses, and the other, the spiritual level, where we literally hear from and communicate with God through our spirit, through our heart. Most everyone, including many religious people, seem to live at the natural level. And that's what we see in the world today, in politics, business, family, sports, neighbors, music, life, just life in general. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about the freedom that comes as you listen to Christ, who speaks to our heart and our spirit, and then when we let him live his life, literally as us. It's really exciting. Look forward to seeing you then. Thanks, everybody.